Hey everyone, let's have a goals check-in. I know I wanted to make them quarterly, but I didn't have time in April or I didn't get around to it. So we're counting all the goals until today, the 7th of May. I honestly don't know what day it is, but who does? So, looking at reading goals first, I'm doing amazingly on my reading goals. I didn't set myself too specific goals. I wanted to reach my 70 books on Goodreads as usual. So far, including the books I'm in the middle of right now, I have read 41 books. I know, right? Of those, 14 were in physical form, 6 in ebook form, and 21 audiobooks. Most of that is due to my daily exercise outside, which is walking or running. And so I've been out 85 hours walking and 17 hours running this year so far. So I could get a lot of audiobooks in there, and there were also some shorter ones. But who cares? I'm really doing good on minutes and pages as well, not only on books numbers. So I'm really happy about this. All the other reading goals, I didn't really put a number to it, but more a general, I want to look how I'm doing there. So the main thing I wanted to do this year is focus more on German authors, and I did. I read 7 books by German authors. Granted, 4 were by the same person, but that doesn't matter. It still counts because it is a finished series. Which brings me to series. I also wanted to continue and finish series as I try for years now. I managed to read 12 sequels, so 12 books that were part of a series. Unfortunately, I also started 4 new series. Although that is not so bad, as I don't think I want to continue many of those. And one I already finished, like I mentioned before. Where I'm not doing so well in is translated works. So far, I only read 2 books in translation, and I want to focus more on that, but I didn't really have any around, so I actually had to buy these 2 as well. I don't have a really big TBR at the moment, which, let's mention that now. I'm doing amazing on not having any books in my TBR. Currently, I have 1 physical book, 1 ebook, and 1 audiobook. The last 3 groups I wanted to look at are kind of in the category of 5. I read 5 classics, and I read 5 nonfiction books, and I also reread 5 books this year. If I keep that rate up, I'm doing pretty fine on that goal as well. Like you can probably tell, I am not worried about my reading goals at all this year. I don't want to put any other in there. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to buying right now. Granted, I had planned to be in London right now to take advantage of all the secondhand bookshops and the wonderful bookshops, and yeah, not happening this year, or at least not now. So I need to find out how to stock up books, currently mostly using ebooks when I buy new books. The last thing I want to mention is the authors. I'm not tracking a certain ratio as my goal, but I like to have a look at if I'm reading more male or female authors without having to track too much into their personality. And so far, I have read 9 different female authors and 24 different male authors. I'm not counting repeat authors. So that's the unique authors I read this year. And it's a little bit more to the side of male authors, but I also have more success with male authors' books this year. I don't know what it is, but every time I hear a story of a female author, I'm just like, nah, not that interested. And some of the books that I really didn't like this year were by female authors. I'm also not counting the DNFs in this part right now. We'll look at those at the end of the year, but I did have some. Also female authors. Okay, now let's move on to the fun life goals I set myself. I wanted to continue what I was doing last year and also build up on that. And yeah, so technically I'm still doing good on exercise. I wanted to increase that, and I think I did, but mostly due to lockdown that I changed how I exercise. I still do morning exercises, but I switched that around more and included YouTube classes for, what do we call that, muscle building? And it's not really muscle building, but it's different classes instead of just cardio. Because for the muscle building or the functional training I used to do at the gym, I can't do that right now. Also, I'm still trying to go on daily walks, but I don't manage every day, even though I'm walking a lot. Sometimes I'm just too tired and just go for a short walk. But in general, my distance on walking has reduced to the last year on a monthly basis, but I'm still going a lot. Does that make sense? It's confusing. I also wanted to take better care of myself, which I framed in dressing more intentionally, which right now looks that I get dressed for work. I know most of the time I spend, like probably everyone else, my days in pajamas and dress robe. And then if I have to work at home, because that's what I'm doing right now, I also get dressed with the intention of dressing for work, which is not what I had intended on doing when I made that goal. Looking at all of this before the lockdown in February and January, I was basically stuck in winter blues. It happens to me every year. I don't really like cold and dark and winter, and January and February, I really have motivational struggles. This year wasn't very easy and hard to get out of that. And just as I was about to get out of that, we were locked in and self-distancing. So there goes my last goal, where I wanted to be more social again and leave my comfort zone. And then we got locked into my comfort zone. I'm doing well with the lockdown. I'm okay, I still have work, I can exercise, we are still allowed to go outside. They're talking about restaurants opening next week again, so maybe things happen there, but I don't really know. After these weeks of not seeing anyone aside from people at work, I don't really know if I want to go any places anymore. So I don't know how that goal is going to continue in the future, but so far, yeah, I failed on my life goals. But it's not totally my fault. It's partly the world that had made it harder to do so, or rather more illegal to do that. So, yeah. I had one more goal, and that was to clean more and keep my tabletops clean and finish things I started. And yeah, let's not talk about that. I live in a mess. It doesn't look like a mess because you only see the clean part. But I should clean more, and I never manage because I think it's because I don't allocate time for it. And being home all the time, you should think that I have time to clean. But for some reason, my brain always says, like, you don't have time to clean now. And then I go watch TV. I know I could clean in that time, but that's not how life works, right? Does that work for anyone like that? I've been rambling on. So, reading goals, awesome. Life goals, nah. I'm still doing good, so that's not the worst part. Right now, getting through the day and not getting worse from day to day is the goal, but that's not the life goal I had intended. Anyways, let's have a look at goals. How are you doing? How are you with goals in this time? Did you make new goals for your lockdown or daily practice at home? Let's talk about goals. Or did you give up on them altogether? Thank you for watching. Bye bye.